Alrighty, welcome back, folks. So we're here with our finished model number two, and our model number two is all done here. You can go ahead and watch our video that takes you through the process on how to fully create this model number two. So now that we're all done, we're ready to go ahead and place this into our drawing number two. So as long as you have your template exported as a DWT and brought back into Onshape, you should be good to go. So we're going to go ahead and right click on this drawing model number two, and we're going to select create drawing of model number two. Make sure you go to my Onshape and retrieve your drawing template. I'll go ahead and find my drawing template. And in this case, I'm going to put it in with no views because if you select 4 views, it brings it in at a smaller scale than we would like. So I choose to place my views by hand. So we're going to go ahead and select no views. And from here, it should automatically select on, and you can see how it wants it to be in a 1:4 scale, but we're looking for a 1:2 scale. That'll be a little bit better for us. So you can adjust it in your view scale up here to a 1:2, and we'll place our base view first. So this will be our base view. And then right above that, we can place our top view. Once again, we can click on our base view and drag it over to the side to get our side view. And now that we're done with all of our orthographic views, let's place our isometric view. You'll notice that this one's pretty large. So what we're actually going to do is adjust the scale on just our isometric or our 3-dimensional view. And to do that, you're just going to double left click it and go ahead and adjust it from a 1:2 to a 1:4. And you can see that it adjusts that pretty nicely and it'll fit perfectly there. We are now messing around with scale a little bit more. So now you can see that our scale, none of our scales are a singular 1:1 scale, right? Our isometric views are, our isometric view is a 1:4 view, and our orthographic views are a 1:2. And that shows down here in our scale in our title block. All right, our next step here is to go ahead and right click our isometric view and select show shaded view. It will import the color and material that we selected in there. And we will left click, and left click our orthographic views. And we will do a quick right click and select show hidden lines. Now all of those hidden lines are being transferred over, and it's looking pretty good. Awesome. Awesome. So our next step here is to add our center marks and our center lines. And if you remember how to do that, let's go ahead and begin with that. Oops. My fault. So we're going to start with the center mark tool. You can see there's our center mark tool, and here's our edge to edge center line. So these are the 2 tools that we will use. Let's start with the center mark. For the center mark, we're going to go over all of our curves, and we're going to be clicking when we get this nice orange kind of highlighted line that you can see. So once again, I'll click, and I will click, and that does all of our center marks. Let's go ahead and take a look at the center line tool. So for edge to edge, that's exactly what it's doing. You select on one edge, in this case, the hidden line of our hole, and you select on the other edge, and it puts that great hidden line right in between there. Oops. And we'll go ahead and do that also here. We'll go ahead and do that also here, and here, and here. And then one last spot, and that's going to go right in between this kind of oblong, weird oval shape. So we'll click this side, and then we'll click all the way down here at this side. And that will put one right in the middle there. Awesome. So our center lines and our center marks are all done, and we're basically ready to go ahead and begin dimensioning here. To begin dimensioning, I'm actually going to do a little bit of adjusting with my drawing just to get everything prepared for dimensioning. Perfect. Awesome. And you can do more adjusting later on. I just like to kind of prepare everything. So when I dimension, I mentioned that I like to try to do these long overall dimensions first. So we're going to start with a linear dimension. This is just using our plain old dimension tool. If I go right to this edge and I click, and I go right to this edge and I click, we're going to start by getting our overall length measurement of 10 inches. And I can go ahead and place that in. Next, let's get our overall kind of width measurement here. So I'm going to go ahead onto our side view and click that corner. And I'll go ahead and click on that corner and we'll drag her down and click. And you can see I got my 5. Now I will have to adjust that out a little bit further later, but it's good for now. And let's get our overall height. So going on to our side view is where I'm choosing to place it. And we are getting our overall height measurement right there. Awesome. So there's a few other kind of linear dimensions that we need to include in order to make sure that we're providing as much information about the drawing as we can. And let's see if I can drag this down a little bit. Oh, it really wants to go to that point. All right. So one of those dimensions comes, well, actually, let's focus on this side view first. Let's go ahead and handle this. So the first one is coming from this edge to the center point here. So it's measuring from the edge to this hole right here, actually, the center point of that hole. And that's 2.5 inches. So we'll go ahead and place that 2.5, and that looks good. Our next step is going to be on this side over here, and we are going to measure the distance from the bottom to the center point of this hole right here. So that's from here up to here, and that is going to be a distance of 3 inches. Great. There's one other linear dimension that we need to add on to this view, and it is one of those that you need to modify with the x2, and that is this one dimension. So the one sits out right here, and the reason why we're adding an x2 is because we have another one over here that's identical, and in order to avoid, over dimensioning, we can simply add that x2. So to do it, we're going to double left click, and in this box right here, we'll simply do a space. We'll do a capital X and a 2, and then I'll just click away, and you'll see I have my 1 inch distance, and it's a ×2, meaning it also translates to over there as well. We're going to do that on a few other measurements, but first let's go ahead and finish the rest of our linear measurements. So let's move to the front view, and let's find the height of our base. So that'll be from here to here, scoot it out, our 1 inch right there, nice and easy. The next thing we are going to do is we are going to find the center point from the edge of the circle here to this center point. So when you're building your model, you need to know this distance here. And we're going to show that from the edge to the center point, and that distance translates as 2.5. All right, so our next step here is we are going to go ahead and we are going to do a couple more linear dimensions. So those linear dimensions are the distance from here to here. So we're going to go ahead and measure that out from here to here. All the way over would be the end of this fillet, and we're not trying to dimension that, just from here to here. And that's a distance of 4 inches. Great. So now that we have that distance of 4 inches, the only other linear dimension that we need to identify is the distance from here to here, because when we're creating our model, we need to know that. Oops. So go ahead, click that, and we're going to drag it out and try to line it up all nice. Great. So there's that 2.5. Now, those are all of those linear dimensions that you need to go ahead and create. The only other dimensions that we need to add in are some of our radial and diameter dimensions. So it's the exact same tool. We don't need to adjust anything, but we can go ahead and go over this curve or over this curve. So let's start with this one here. We're going to click, we're going to drag it out, and we're also going to click this one, and we're going to drag it out. And you can see both of these are radial dimensions because they are not full circles. but we have another R.5 on this circle here. So as you know, let's go ahead and add that x2 in there to reference the 0.5 and the 0.5. Great. Now there's only 3 more dimensions that we need to add, and they all relate to these curves on this front view here. So let's grab our dimension tool, plain old dimension tool, and all 3 of these dimensions are going to have x2s next to them. The reason being is this is just the side view, and we need to let whoever know. We need to communicate that this is both on this side as well as on this side, and these are identical. So I'll probably place them first, and then I'll go ahead and add my x2s after the fact. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and let me go ahead, click on 1, add the x2, on the other one, oops, click on the other one, add the x2, space x2, and then the third one, go to the edge, space x2. Beautiful, beautiful. So let me do a right click and zoom to fit, and we are left with our finished drawing. The only thing that you need to do at this point is you need to make sure that you are filling this information out with a drawing number 2. You are filling out your additional information with whatever information you choose to add, and you are exporting your drawing. So once you're all done with the title block, you can right click, you can export. We export as a PDF, and we are going to name this drawing number 2 Battaglia, whatever you want to name it, and you're going to go ahead and download that PDF right there. Go ahead and export that. That is what you are going to be uploading to Schoology 4 Points. Yeah, I think that's it. Go ahead and follow through this video, and you should have no problems. I'll see you on the next one.